He say, he said they're safer at school and home. Because, and I wear mask. Wait, no, so when they do school, then we'll wear mask.
But then
Because them parents at work in the day, so school is like a protective mechanism for them. Business.
but what makes it a lot of times that some of them don't want
Good afternoon, Nikki. Please take off your mic. I'm hearing everything over here.
I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
All right.
Oh, I heard you. I hope you didn't hear the entire conversation.
No, I
hope
just
you
heard about the
hearing.
mask
Oh
and the
my
protective
God.
mechanism. It's just me and you, don't worry.
The state funeral for Celeste Roxborough.
Good afternoon, ladies. I do apologize for changing the time of our class this afternoon. However, I'm here now. I am about ready to begin, but out of 15 persons, I'm only seeing 3. So I'm going to hold on a bit, with your permission, of course, so that others have an opportunity to log on before we begin. In the meantime, please indicate if you can hear me loudly and clearly. Ladies?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you so very much.
Hearing you clearly.
Thank you. All right, so we're going to give the other persons an opportunity to log on, and then we will begin in a few minutes. Thank you so much.
So it's more than one store. My God. When is this thing going to go away? They have community spread again. Jesus.
Nikki, your mic again, please.
Oh Lord. I'm so sorry. I have my phone in my pocket. I don't know why it's unlocking.
Your mic can get you in trouble this afternoon.
It's just COVID related activities, my dear.
Yes, yes, I understand, but I'm not sure you want everybody to hear what you have to say.
Oh no,
So,
no, not at all.
exactly. Good afternoon, ladies, again. I'm only seeing 4 persons, and I am about ready to begin. One second. Yes, ladies, as I was saying, I'm only seeing 4 persons, but I'm going to begin in 2 minutes and hope the others get on in time to hear what's being discussed this afternoon. I'm just reminding you of the topic for this afternoon. We are looking at the byproducts of beekeeping. We're looking at honey, extraction, handling, and storage. But we'll look at the byproducts for beekeeping first, due to the fact that other members of my team are not available until a little late in the class. Okay? So in exactly 2 minutes, we will begin. Thank you. Okay, ladies, good afternoon. I am going to begin. I hope that others will get on in time. This afternoon, we're going to be speaking about the byproducts of beekeeping, and we're having a conversation. It's not going to be a monologue. We are going to be speaking with one another. I might not know everything about the byproducts of beekeeping. Some of you might have other experiences that you wish to share, or you wish to seek clarification on, or get a second opinion on. And we are here to discuss the issues and talk about them. Now, I trust I posted some videos in the chat recently, as early as Monday. And I'm hoping that at least you had an opportunity to at least, interact with some of them so that we have, material for our discussion this afternoon. I will be piquing your interest with another video that I think would be helpful and to, generate some more ideas as we look at the byproducts of beekeeping. As you know, beekeeping is not just about producing honey or making sure that your bees stay alive. You also have value-added products that you can make and you can take advantage of when it comes to, you know, starting a business, improving your product line and those things. One of the most spoken about byproduct of bees or beekeeping is beeswax. And beeswax have so many uses that I'm sure we have enough material that we can discuss concerning beeswax. So without any further ado, we are going to have, I'm going to ask you to indicate or, you know, make a statement, ask a question as it pertains to beeswax and, you know, how we work with it or how you see it, you know, making an impact in our lives, whether on a small scale, medium scale, large scale. You know, just give me some ideas as to what you think so that we can at least share with each other so that in the event somebody is not comfortable working directly with the bees, at least indirectly, they will still have a foothold to say, you know, this is what I'm more comfortable with, and I would more be inclined to develop this concept rather than actually going into a beehive and looking at bees. So ladies, the floor is yours. Good afternoon once again, and we are ready to begin discussing. Ladies, are you with me?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, I saw one of the videos with the beekeeper that was melting the wax. What I wanted to find out, because it looked to me that sometimes you don't get as much wax that you think you're going to get from your bee box. So do you import the wax? If you, let's say you want to get into candle making, then would you have to then import additional bee wax from overseas to make the candles?
Okay. Your question is understood. That question was also raised yesterday. Importing beeswax is an option. However, if you're willing to, you know, label your product as 100% local and so on, that's collecting your beeswax, collecting and rendering your beeswax would be the way to go. The thing is, it takes 4 boxes. Just bear with me as I break it down so you can understand it. It takes 4 boxes of frames with cone to make 25 pounds of beeswax. 4 boxes of frames is the equivalent of 40 frames of cone. And that will give you 25 pounds of beeswax. 25 pounds of beeswax at the local market value of $35 a pound will give you somewhere in the region of $875 for that 25 pounds. However, with collecting beeswax, you cannot manfully go into your hives and say, okay, I'm taking up 4 boxes of frames or 40 frames, putting them at random and say I'm going to melt them because I want some beeswax, right? Usually beeswax is collected over time. How you get beeswax? When you go out and you get a hive or you collect a hive. Remember when we were having the discussion with collection of hives, there are certain things that you put in your box, certain parts of the cone of the hive you put in the box, and other parts you will put in another container, okay? The parts that you put in this other container that are not actually in your hive, after you would have squeezed out the honey out of it or, you know, whatever debris and so on is there, that is what you would store and then you would render your beeswax from it, okay? So collecting these little pieces, when you're going to collect your honey and you use your decapping fork and you scrape off, you break that seal over the honey. All those little fragments are what you keep together and store, which will make you have a cone or cone pieces that you can get wax from. So every little bit is important so you don't have unnecessary wastage when you're dealing with your cones, okay? Remember earlier up in the classes when we spoke about storing comb, and we said we have to make sure you protect them from wax moth. That's where that information comes in handy when you're ready to apply it. Because once you collect your cone and you put them down, if you don't secure them properly and wax moth gets in, wax moth is going to eat everything. Okay? So in an airtight bucket, you put your cones in there, or what you consider waste cones or damaged cones in there. And when you're ready to render your wax now, then you'll pull it from that. Did that answer your question, or did I clarify it a bit for you?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
No problem. Any other questions, ladies?
What percentage of our local beekeepers utilize their beeswax?
At this particular moment, I won't be able to give you a concise figure. However, I can tell you that majority of them do render wax and do have wax available for sale for persons who do things like lip balms and skincare products and hair products and so on. So majority of them do have wax, do render wax at some level. Majority, if not all, they do render wax at some level and have it available for sale.
So that $35 per pound is for clean beeswax.
Yes, clean beeswax. Not the cones. The cones themselves are not sold. The honeycomb is not sold as like that, okay? They would have gone through, taken the time and gone through the process of rendering the wax. So you have clean, pure wax. I'll pull up a picture on my screen shortly and show you an example of what locally produced wax looks like. Just give me a few seconds, let me pull it up. And that is what is presented to you. The cone itself, that is, stays in the domain of the beekeeper. And they will continue doing additional processes to have it ready for you. So when you get it, it's just time for consumption for you to use. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thanks.
Okay. Any other questions in the meantime while I pull up this picture? Okay, ladies, if you notice here, there are 3 blocks on this countertop. Each one of these blocks is a solid block of beeswax, which was rendered by a local beekeeper. Each one represents the lowest weight is 25 pounds, the highest is 27 pounds. Okay? And this is what 25, roughly average 25-pound block of beeswax would look like. What can you do with this much beeswax? Lots of things. I am familiar with smaller portions of beeswax. I've worked with smaller portions. And from 1 pound of beeswax, I can tell you I have done lots of things with it. Lip balms, lotions, hair products, soaps, and I still have from that initial pound of beeswax, still working with, right? And I have made my products and made lots of it, okay? Beeswax are also used with for making candles, and this picture, this is an example of a locally made beeswax candle. Now it is not made from pure beeswax. There are other things that you need to add to get an efficient candle. But this is just an example of one such product that is available. These are other scented candles made from beeswax, along with additional ingredients, essential oils, bitter shortening. Each ingredient has its own unique properties that will aid in the efficiency of the product. Are there any questions or comments at this time? Additional questions or comments? Ladies?
One question.
Yes, dear.
Are we going to get a hands-on training per se of how to make the soaps and the candles and stuff like that? Or we basically have to learn from ourselves from the for ourselves from the YouTube videos?
Okay, I was trying to get that worked into the program. If nothing else, especially the soaps and the candles. However, according to how the funding is going, that wasn't possible this time around. I am still trying to negotiate with Miss Bird to see how we can get that part integrated. So we have another session where, we look at actually making the soaps and making the candles so that we have something, we actually do a practical of, making these products. However, this time, what I can tell you to do, we have persons out here who are knowledgeable about these things. We ask questions and don't be afraid to experiment. I know experimentation can be a bit expensive or a bit costly, but experiment in small batches so that you can tweak and modify accordingly. And while experimenting, another bit of advice that I will give, write everything down. If while you're working with it and you had 2 ounces of beeswax and 3 ounces of corn oil, and you realize you needed a splash of lemon in it to do something else, right? You write the splash of lemon and, you see how it reacts to that, how your product reacts, and then you can make an assessment as to, is this what I really want, or let me do it again and take out that and see what happens, okay? When we're using these products or making these products, experimentation and sometimes information on YouTube can be your friend. It will actually give you a guide as to, what's happening with your product and where to take it or how to tweak and modify it. I am still, as I said, I'm still trying to find out or still trying to negotiate to have a session funded that will deal with actually making the products. But until then, this is what we have for now. I just have to expose you to it, let you know what options or avenues are available that you can explore. And if need be, I can point you in the right direction as to who you get close to, who you network with, and to get something up and going. Does that answer your question, dear?
Yes, thank you.
All right, no problem. All right, if there are no more questions at this particular time, I'm going to show a video about some of the many uses of beeswax, and then we'll come back and hold a little discussion. Okay. Now I'll be playing the video straight from the internet. So if you have any hiccups on your end, please indicate and let me know. Thank you.
Last week, I made a video on my prepping purchases for spring of this year, and one of those purchases was wax, and I happened to mention it has a multitude of uses, and Canadian Prepper asked me to list some of the uses, so I'm making this video in response. Wax has been used for preservation for centuries. Both the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Persians used, I guess it was beeswax for mummification. In fact, mummy comes from the Persian word for wax. Ancient Egyptians also used it for coating papyrus, so it would last longer. I guess that's the first wax paper. And they had other uses for it as well. Now, there are two forms of wax that I buy, and let me show you them. First is golf wax, and you can get this at the grocery store. It's usually around $3, and look for it in the canning aisle. That's where I usually find it. And this is a petroleum product, so it is made of petroleum. And I guess the good thing about it was we used to hunt whales for their fat to make candles, and once we came up with this petroleum wax about 100 years ago, we no longer had to hunt whales for that purpose. Now the other wax is beeswax. And this is a pound of beeswax, and that was just a pound of golf wax that I'm showing you. Now beeswax is a little more expensive than golf wax. You can buy it online, but I prefer to get it locally. I look on Craigslist, and I buy it anywhere from $6 to $10. And it really is just a byproduct of those that raise bees. So I'm going to show you a lot of uses, 40 plus uses for how to use golf wax and beeswax. So here we go. For the category light, number one, of course, is candles. Number two, fire starters. You can use wax to coat dryer lint or makeup removal pads, or mix with sawdust to make great fire starters. To lubricate. Number three, zippers. If you have a sticky zipper, just take a bar of wax and rub it on the zipper. It'll be smooth sailing from then on. Number four, wood screws. Just rub the screws over a block of wax and you'll find they drive easier and there's less splitting of wood. You can make your own zinc nails, number five, by mixing 3 parts mineral spirits with 1 part wax. Number six, to keep your iron smooth, you can rub a hot iron over a bar of wax wrapped in cloth. Please make sure you don't rub the iron directly over a bar of wax or you'll have a mess. Number seven, to lubricate your drawers, just rub a bar of wax over the sliders, or you can use a mix of 4 parts mineral oil with 1 part wax. Number eight, windows, to keep them opening and closing smoothly, run a bar of wax over the tracks or use the recipe for lubricating the doors. Number 9, snow shovels. To help the snow slide off the shovel, rub a bar of wax over the dry shovel before you use it. Number 10, skis, toboggans, surfboards, etc. Just lubricate the bottom of the skis or toboggan or surfboard with a bar of wax. Number 11, trash cans. To keep things from sticking, coat the inside with melted wax. Number 12, lubricate the mold when casting bullets. And I have to give credit to 3-3 Survival for that suggestion. So now for the waterproof and water-resistant category. Number 13, make your own waterproof thread. Wax thread is often used in handmade crafts and sewing applications such as hand-sewn leather goods, as the thread is able to pass through dense objects like leather more easily. Number 14, make your own wax paper. And wax paper itself has a multitude of uses. Number 15, Waterproof matches. You can just dip the matches in 3 parts mineral spirits and 1 part wax. Number 16, make your own alternative to plastic wrap. Coat 100% cotton cloths with beeswax. For the polish and conditioner category, number 17, make your own furniture polish. 4 parts linseed oil, 1 part wax. Number 18, leather conditioner. 4 parts linseed oil and 1 part wax. Number 19, shoe polish. You can mix wax, olive oil, and charcoal for black polish. Number 20, keeping rust off tools. Mix 4 parts mineral oil and 1 part wax. Now into skincare and cosmetics. 21, chapstick. If you want it more organic, you make it with beeswax, and you can just mix it with beeswax with cocoa butter and coconut oil. Lotion. I like to use the lotion bars made out of beeswax. 23, earplugs. You can make them yourself from wax and cotton fibers. Comes in very handy if your spouse snores. Number 24, eyebrow and mustache remover wax. Now remember, in the apocalypse, nobody wants to have a unibrow, so it's very important to have wax on hand, or if you're into manscaping. Number 25, make your own handlebar mustache wax. Number 26, make a Vaseline-like product. Just use 1 ounce beeswax and a half cup baby oil. Sealing category. Number 27, I remember my mom used to fill a canning jar with jam or jelly and then put a 1/2 inch of hot wax on top to seal. Well, this method is no longer approved by the USDA. It still helped preserve a lot of jams and jellies in the past. Number 28, seal your cork on the wine bottle. Number 29, seal letters. Miscellaneous category. Number 30, chocolate making. If you want a shiny coat on your chocolate, you add a little food-grade wax to the melted chocolate. 31, fruits and vegetables. To keep them fresh longer, dip the fruit or vegetable in melted food-grade wax. This will slow down the moisture loss and keep them from spoiling. Number 32, preserving eggs. You coat the eggs in beeswax and store in oats. Again, this is not USDA approved, but many people do use this method of preservation. If you do, use it at your own risk. Number 33, crayons. You can make your own. All you need is paraffin wax and some pigments. Number 34, paraffin wax hand bath for arthritis. You mix 1 part mineral oil with 2 parts wax. You dip your hand in it and put a plastic bag over it, and it does give your hands some relief from arthritis pain, and it also makes your hands very smooth. Number 35, you can make wax models for jewelry. Number 36, keeping your dry flies floating for fishing. Number 37, you can make your own batik fabric. Number 38, wax resist painting. Number 39, decorating the Ukrainian eggs. Number 40, add a little olive oil for hoof dressing. Number 41, wax models. Think of a wax museum. You can also use wax to prolong the life of hard cheese. However, a special food-grade wax is developed, and it will heat at higher temperature than regular wax to prevent bacteria growing in the cheese. Thus, you should not use beeswax or the Gulf wax that I store. You need to have special cheese wax. So that's it. That's all I have for uses of wax. If you have something more, please comment.
Ladies, your thoughts? Ladies, are you with me? Are we sleeping? Are we awake?
The video was not very clear. The voice was very scratchy.
Oh, that seems to be an internet transfer problem. It's been coming across like that since yesterday. I do apologize. However,
No,
it's also really clear that I can
you're sounding very clear, but it's just that
the
the
video.
audio, yeah, for the video was very, very scratchy for me.
Okay. But did you
But
get a
from
good
what I
idea as to
gathered,
what was happening?
yes, yes. What I realized, most of the things are not made from pure beeswax. It's adding beeswax to other things too as a byproduct. That's what.
Yes, to enhance whatever, to enhance the efficiency of the beeswax, or for whatever
Of
purpose
the
you're
other
using it for.
product, yeah.
Yeah. For example, if you make a candle with pure beeswax, it doesn't burn very well. The middle of the candle will burn out and leave the rest of the beeswax standing there, right? So to get an even burn from your candles, you'll have to mix it with things like shortening or additional, like the same paraffin wax that she has there, and additional oils and so on to kind of even out how the candle will burn and melt, so as to improve the efficiency of the candle. But as I said, that's an avenue that you'll have to experiment with and keep experimenting until you have a product that is okay for you and that you're comfortable with presenting to say, okay, this is the finished product. Anybody else have any other thoughts? Okay, here's a question. We spoke about beeswax. What other byproducts that the bees produce can we use? Apart from honey, apart from beeswax, what else is there that you think we can use? Anybody?
Propolis.
Propolis. How would you use the propolis?
You could eat it.
Eat it as in taking it out of the hive and eating it?
I think you have to cure it or something, and then you can consume it. From the video I saw yesterday, I think. That's what the lady
Okay, from the video. All right. Anybody else have any other thoughts about propolis?
I think it's used as a treatment or some type of medicine. I think that was said earlier.
Treatments and medicines. Are you familiar? Have you ever come across propolis being sold in Antigua?
Not me.
Not you.
No, I haven't.
Anybody have? Quite surprisingly, propolis is sold here. I came across dietary supplement about a month ago. Not even so long, about 3 weeks ago, 3 weeks to a month ago.
local
And
propolis.
it was not local propolis, it was imported propolis. However, the fact that it was on the shelf, and when I went, there were only 3 bottles, meant that it would have been a case of propolis supplements that came in, and there were only 3 left, which means that we have an avenue here in Antigua that has never been tapped as it relates to local propolis being sold or being processed and made available for sale. So that's also another avenue that can be explored, can be experimented with, and can be marketed from our bees. Okay. Also, pollen. How many persons have used pollen? Nobody? Are you aware that pollen is being sold in Antigua also? Ladies?
I've never tried it.
But you are aware of it?
Yes.
All right. So pollen is being sold here, and from all indications, the high protein content in it, it has been declared a natural Viagra in some places or some quarters, but it has its uses, and it's another avenue that can be explored. The beekeepers here the more advanced beekeepers, they have the methods of collecting pollen, and they do collect pollen for various reasons, most of which is with feeding their bees or with feeding bees, or whenever they have to do pollination services so that the bees will pollinate as many flowers as possible, right? So pollen is collected locally. It is sold between beekeepers. From my understanding of things, it is sold between beekeepers when they need to feed their hives, especially in the drought situations. But it is not being sold as a food item as readily as that. If it is sold, maybe it will be on a very small scale. However, it's not a very large scale, marketed product. We looked at propolis, we looked at pollen, we looked at beeswax. Do you know of any other byproducts that we can get from the bees? Anybody?
Royal jelly.
Royal jelly. What do we use royal jelly for?
Well, some people say that it's a natural, what do you call it? I guess it boosts your libido. So they use it for that.
Okay. But do you know if we collect royal jelly here?
I am not sure. I see this brand called Royal Jelly that someone is selling. So the brand of the Royal Jelly is called Royal Jelly, and it seems to be a very popular brand, but it seems like it's imported and not produced here.
Oh, okay. All right. Presently, I do not, from my limited knowledge. Mr. Brent Georges is not with us as yet. He's running a bit late today. And he will be a better person to ask that question if it is being collected and harvested here as a marketable product. But from all my interactions with beekeeping, I've never heard of any beekeeper on island actually collecting royal jelly for marketing or for anything at all. We know that royal jelly is fed to the young baby queens while they're still going through their, infant stages. Right? Outside of that, we have not explored the technology of harvesting royal jelly. Okay, are there any other products, any other byproducts that we can think of?
I have a question.
Yes.
I had seen online that well, some people will take the venom, I'm not really sure how, from the bee, and like they use it to treat bee stings. Do you know if that has ever been practiced here?
They take the venom from the bee?
Yes. I'm not
Okay,
really sure how.
to treat, repeat your question for me, please. I didn't get it clearly.
Well, I was saying that I had seen online that they somehow take the venom from the bee
Uh-huh.
to treat bee stings. So I saw that online, and I was wondering if that has ever been practiced here.
To my knowledge, and I must say to my limited knowledge, Mr. Brent Georges is a more advanced beekeeper than myself. Mrs. Scotland is more advanced than me. To my knowledge, we do not use the bee venom to treat a bee sting. We use the honey to treat bee stings. So if you're out in the field and the bee stings you out there, you just grab a bit of honey from the same hive and you just rub on it, right? As long as you remove that sac with the venom so that the sac doesn't keep pushing the venom into you. As long as you scrape off that sac and it comes out of your skin, then you just use a bit of honey and rub the area. You will not feel the effects of the sting as much as if you just left it, got stung and just left it as that. That's what I know we practice here.
And it had also said that it was used as a natural Botox in some instances in products because
It was
in some instances it's using cosmetic products as like a natural Botox. The venom.
Yes, the venom. From my research, I think it was more the actual sting of the bee. If they collect the bee sting and the bee venom, it would be more an injectable. Because I know it is said that the bee stings are good for people that have arthritis and so on. Right? It's called, if my memory serves me correct, bee sting therapy. Bee sting therapy for persons who have arthritis and so on. They would allow the bee to sting them at that particular area where the pain is, and the venom will, according to them, will cure. You will at least alleviate some of the pain that you're feeling, right? So these are all avenues that can be explored, can be researched. You can, when Mr. Brent Georges get here, we can come back to these questions and ask him and see if he can shed any further light on, you know, what they do locally, or if it is even practiced locally. Now, some of these things that we view, because we are in a global setting now, and we have, through Google and YouTube, we have access to everybody around the world and what they do in their corners of the world. We have all these different ideas coming together. But what is practical for our situation might not be what they do in their setting. So we need to also bear that in mind whenever we're doing our research. And as I say, experimentation, as long as you're not going to be harming yourself unnecessarily, feel free to experiment. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Comments, suggestions? Miss Matthew, Aldit, please mute your mic. Your background is coming through. All right, ladies. Anything else? Any other thoughts on the byproducts? All right. Byproducts of beekeeping. How many persons who are present have actually used, apart from honey, with the exception of honey, because I'm certain everybody here has tasted honey. So we're not going to be talking about honey, we're going to be talking about the other byproducts. Have you used them? Have you seen them being used? Have you seen them being used? Talk to me. I want to give each person an opportunity to talk to me and tell me if you have seen the product being used, if you have used it yourself, and you know, what are your thoughts concerning what you have witnessed or experienced? Can I start from top to bottom of my screen?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Naomi.
Oh, I was saying I've used a honey sugar scrub, like it's an exfoliation scrub.
Okay.
I guess you just use it and it makes your skin very moisturized and soft at the end. So
okay. All right, and here we go, beauty department. Anybody else?
I've never really used any of the byproducts. I buy the honey, but that's it.
So you've never used it on your skin, never used it in your hair?
No.
You know, a honey conditioner is so relaxing and makes your hair so soft.
I will try it next time.
When you finish shampooing and you finish conditioning, you just get a handful of honey, put it in your hair, let it sit for a while, then you rinse it out, and you're good to go. You'll see the difference.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Anybody else?
I've used it in my hair already as treatment, mixed it with other stuff and
As
used it in my
treatment, right?
yeah.
Okay. And how was it?
It was good.
Okay. Anybody else? Have anybody actually interacted with local beeswax?
No, well, not me.
No, nobody?
No, I
Okay,
haven't.
so won't change that. And we have practicals coming up. Talk on the field. We have practicals coming up. We'll speak on the field, don't worry. But I think you need to actually experience what the locally produced beeswax actually looks and feel like. Anybody else? Interaction with byproducts? Anybody else? Miss Simon, have you? Anything with your beauty products, skincare?
The
Have
beeswax
you
that's
tried
in my
Madam?
hair. I've used
Beeswax
it.
in your hair? Okay. What about on your skin? Never tried it on your skin?
Yeah,
Okay. And how was it?
it was thick. I mean, it lasts.
It lasts.
Yes.
Okay. Now, please, one area of interest or one thing to note when you're making your balms and so on, your beeswax actually pulls all the other ingredients together so that they do not separate during storage, right? I have made hair treatments or hair grease, hair dressing from beeswax. However, if you put too much beeswax in your hair dress, it's going to leave extra buildup on your hair. And that's not something that you would like, because the extra buildup means that dust will be collected easily and you'll have more washing to do. And sometimes it might be a little difficult to get that actual beeswax out of your hair unless you use a very strong shampoo. Using a strong shampoo means that you kill all the other good things that are produced by your actual scalp and so on. And you don't want to run that risk of using the beeswax and then turning around and drying out your hair and putting them in a state where they'll be breaking and so on. So when experimenting, keep these things in mind. If you're making something for the skin, you don't want nothing that is going to be blocking your pores, because you need your skin to breathe, and you still don't want something that's going to be extremely greasy that leaves you feeling sticky all day, right? But bear in mind that your beeswax helps to pull your product together. So you have 4 different oils in your product, then you put in your essential oils, and then you put in your scents, your perfume scents, and you need all of that to combine because different oils carry different weight. So some will float higher than others and so on, right? So you want all of it coming together so that you don't have the separation. So that's what your beeswax does. It pulls the ingredients together and keep your product stabilized. All right. I am going to acknowledge the presence. Mr. Brent Georges has arrived, and Mr. Jeremy Scotland has joined us also. So they're finally in the house. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. Good day, ladies. My apologies for being late. Due to circumstances, I don't want it to be on my control, but certain things that I had to take care of, I just needed a few minutes. So my apologies. How is everybody doing this afternoon?
Ladies, your time to speak now. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Good to have you in here. So, Sylvie, we move on to what are we moving on to next.
All
Extraction.
right. I have been speaking about the byproducts of beekeeping. We looked at beeswax. We looked at beeswax, not in its entirety, but we had a good discussion about beeswax. Then we went on to speaking about propolis, pollen, and propolis, pollen. Ladies, what else we spoke about? Royal jelly. And there's some questions I told them to put up until you come. See if you can shed some more light on the issues. One being royal jelly. Is it collected here in Antigua on a local level? And is it something that is marketed locally?
Okay.
Royal jelly.
Because, if I can respond to it, presently, no. Because of the fact that there is no demand for it locally, because I don't think persons are cognizant of the fact that there are special benefits of the royal jelly. I think there's no demand for it locally, but internationally, yes. But because of the fact that there's no local demand for it, persons do not practice collecting it. So thus far, no. But in terms of, if I can just say pollen, pollen is on the up and up in terms of persons demanding or looking for pollen, and also propolis, just as a side note. So royal jelly, no, but the other byproducts, the pollen and the propolis, yes.
So propolis is collected locally, Brent?
Yes, I know persons who sell propolis. And wax, propolis, wax, and pollen.
So propolis, wax, and pollen, those are produced locally and marketed locally?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So ladies, there you have it. I stand corrected. I hope I did not mislead anybody too far away from the point, but I stand corrected, and these things are produced with the exception of the royal jelly. Okay? Brent, quick question. The propolis that is collected, how is it marketed? As just pure propolis, or is it manufactured into something else before it is sold?
Just propolis in its raw form. Just raw form. They don't do. I think when they get into the processing of the propolis, I think some sort of alcohol is added to create whatever that substance is.
I meant locally.
Yeah, but locally.
The beekeeper sells it as pure propolis that you pull from the hive.
Pure propolis.
Who buys it? The consumer who buys it, what do they manufacture it as to produce as another product put out there?
There is I'm not gonna get the right word, but it's called a tincture or something, TINTUR.
Tincture. Yeah, tincture.
Right. It's sold as a tincture because I think it is diluted with some concentration of alcohol to give you that, whatever that is, the tincture. And that is what persons do. But the local beekeeper just sells it in its raw form. Some years ago, we had there was a very prominent naturalist, somebody who had one of these herb gardens, if I'm not mistaken. And the person came to me and asked me about telling them propolis. It caught me by surprise because I didn't realize that the person realized the benefits of the propolis. I wasn't even certain what price I should sell it for because it wasn't something that I took seriously in terms of looking at it as something to give me $1.
Okay.
Right? And I know if you put in a queen excluder, especially at the top of the box under the hive cover, the bees, right? That could be considered as a propolis trap or propolis a mechanism to capture propolis because they just put propolis on the top of it, trying to seal off the top of it. So yes, there is a market for it locally, and the beekeeper harvests it in its raw form, and the person doing the processing adds the alcohol to turn it into the tincture.
Okay. And what price is it sold at, you know?
I can't give you a price. I can't give you a price. But it is on local.
Okay. So ladies, there you have it.
Sorry, question
Yes.
for you. Did you post a video in terms of the benefits of some of these byproducts of the bees?
Yes, I did one on propolis. I did one on propolis. We looked at beeswax. I'm not sure which other. Hold on there.
What about the pollen? What about the pollen?
Yes, I never posted a video about pollen. Never posted one about pollen. I did propolis, and then using the beeswax as soap, in hand balms and candles. Yeah, that's what I did.
Okay, so therefore everything in the hive can be sold.
Yes, I hope the ladies were took away at least that from our discussion. Ladies, the floor is open for you. I told you we're discussing this afternoon now. I'm not going to sit down here talking to myself. So ladies, let's go. Ladies, you're sleeping on me?
Okay, Sylvie.
Okay.
Probably the interest will be generated when we talk about the harvesting of honey.
I'm just wondering if they're hearing me. That's the thing.
Loud and clear.
Yes, we
Okay.
can. Yes, I'm hearing you.
Thank you. All right, so then we can move on now to the honey harvesting, handling, extraction. We can go into that now. And see where we go from there.
So I am going to make Mr. Scotland take the lead on this, and then I will support him along the way. Mrs. Scotland?
I'm here.
Okay. You're going to go through the harvesting of honey, and I will support you along the way.
Is there a video going to play?
The videos are coming through scratchy. We're still having the same issue as what we had yesterday, where the videos are not, the audios are coming through properly. So I don't know if you want me to play the video, to show the video silently, and you talk through it.
Yes.
Talk to me.
Yes, play the video without sound.
All right, then, no problem.
Again, I will smooth once again.
Mr. Scotland, you're seeing the video? Mr. Scotland?
I'm seeing the video, Sylvie.
Okay.
Okay, could you start
So
over
we
again?
need to pause.
My mic was on mute when I was talking. Right, could you repeat it again?
Okay, no problem.
Okay, we are using no smoker here to calm the bees. We got to make sure our smoker is not too hot before we use it. And then we're going to remove frame number 1. And removing frame number 1, we inspect the frame. We use some more smoke and the brush to get the bees them down into the box. Take a look at the frame. You notice that the honey is 90% cap or 95% cap.
Scotty, explain what you mean by 95% cap. What is the ratio in terms of when you say 95% cap? What are you referring to?
Okay, we're talking about honey here in terms of honey and nectar. All right, the sealed area is honey, and the unsealed area is nectar. You actually want to extract your honey when it's about 80%. 80% cap. Okay. We're actually brushing the bees down in the bottom of the frame here. Gentle. At the bottom of the frame, you have some extended cone. Then give me the correct name for that, please.
Okay, we call it Burcombe. B-U-R-R, Burcombe.
Burcombe. That's the correct name. That's an extended honey at the bottom of the frame. Simply mean that the box is bigger than normal. So when you actually have the frame inside of the box, the frame is a bit higher above the next frame. So the bees in them go and form the cone at the bottom of the frame with that little spacing they have. So you call that Burcombe. Go ahead, Sylvie. Okay, if you notice the Burcombe that we have at the bottom of the frame, we use our hive tool and we cut that off into our bucket or receptacle. Okay, that's our frame honey. Take a look at it right there. And we place it, that's number 1. Placing it in our storage basin, which is a box that we use. We actually cover the box from we call it robin, where the other bees will come over and take the honey back to their nest. Okay, so I think I can speak. I think I can speak straight now. Okay, here we go. No, we have to decap first. Let me speak, Sylvie.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
After getting all the frames, remember you got to put them in order. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, up to number 10 or 9 if you're using 9 frame up in your super. All right. When you're finished, you get your decapping fork, your decapping knife, and you decap your cone or the cone from the frame. All right. Um, you're actually making an indentation or you're taking out the outer layer, seal layer, that you can put your frame into your extractor. All right. After placing your 2 frame in your extractor, it depends on how many frames you're using, extractor. You put your place in your frame into your extractor and you spin it. You turn it on gentle, whether you're using a manual extractor or electrical extractor. You turn on the speed at a low speed, and your cone will spin out, spin out, spin out, spin out. You let that happen for about 5 minutes, spin for about 5 minutes, and then you stop it. You inspect your cone, and then you turn it over. You turn it around, I should say. You place it back into your extractor, and then you spin again for the next 5 minutes. When you're finished with that, you inspect it and make sure there's no honey remaining or less honey remaining on your extractor. You don't want to be extracting any honey and putting back any honey into your hive. All right. So after you finish with that now, you go to the other frames until you finish with all 10 frames. When you finish with 10 frames, you place them back into your hive in order as you take them out, like from 1 to 10. All right. When all of the honey is extracted, now it's in the drum for your storage tank for your extractor. All right. Now we're going to use a sleeve. You're going to use a sleeve, and you're going to open your spout for you're going to put your sleeve over your bucket, and you're going to open your spout for your extractor, and then you're going to let your honey drain into your sleeve. Okay. After your honey is drained to your sleeve, you can let it rest for a day or 2 before bottling. All right. And you can bottle straight, you can put it straight to bottles and then into the supermarket or to sell. All right. Any questions? Anything you want to add, Mr. Judge?
No, the explanation was pretty good. Thank you very much, Scotty.
Welcome.
Ladies.
Ladies, are you still here?
Yes.
No question, ladies?
I guess we'll get a better understanding when we actually have the practical.
Oh, so you, okay.
Okay.
I agree.
May I ask a question?
So you all know why you decap the comb? Why do we decap the comb?
So when you're spinning it, the honey actually comes out?
That is correct. Ladies, let's go, man. Come alive.
Can I ask another question though? So
okay.
After you spin your comb and all the honey comes out, you take that frame and put it back in the box with the wax?
You take that frame and put it into your hive.
Oh, so yes, you put it back into your hive. So the
Yes.
bees now will go and fill it back up again.
You will dress it back up, and then start to pack it back with nectar first before coming to honey.
Okay, so if I want that beeswax now to make candles, I would have to cut it out, and then the bees would have to start all over again.
Okay, we don't recommend that you cut your cone out.
Uh-huh.
All right. The decapping, when you decap
Particles.
it, you're gonna have the correct name. When you decap the cone, the cone that you decap, the pieces that come off the cone,
Uh-huh.
you can use that to boil to get your wax.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question, ladies? Okay.
Ladies, everybody's okay with everything? Nothing you need clarification on?
Do you ladies know the amount of honey you can get from that box? Amount of honey that box holds?
About 80 pounds.
Correct. Any other question, ladies? Okay, over to you, Sylvie.
All right then, ladies. It seems like we have reached the end of we have exhausted our conversation for this afternoon. However, I must remind you that practicals will be starting this weekend. The schedule has been posted. I will repost it. The schedule that is being used, Saturday and Sunday. The place, BBC, where we met the very first day of class. We will be up in that said area. And for the next 4 weeks, we'll be dealing with, on the weekends, we'll be having our practicals as they pertain to beekeeping. This weekend, we're looking at bee box building, where you get an opportunity to actually build your bee box in preparation to put your hive in. All right. Bring your mask along, bring gloves along if you have them or if you work in them, if you're comfortable working in your gloves. If you have a cordless drill, bring that along also, and with a Phillips head bit to work with the drill. Okay. The first group starts at 10 o'clock. Let me just double check to make sure it is 10 o'clock and not 9. As I said, I will repost the schedule so that persons know exactly when they're scheduled to arrive for practicals. Yes, the first group starts at 10 o'clock. Then the second group comes in at 12 and the final group comes in at 2. Okay? When you come in, you'll be guided accordingly as to what to do. You'll be instructed how to put your boxes together, and we should have a fun class this weekend. Okay? Is there anything else that you need to know as it pertains to the practicals? Ladies?
No.
Other than the items mentioned, is there anything else we would need?
Pardon?
Other than the items mentioned, is there anything else we would need?
Your water, make sure you walk with your water so you keep hydrated. That's about it. Yeah. Don't dress up. You don't need to dress up for the occasion because you'll be working with wood and screws and drills and so on. So you can dress appropriately for the occasion. Outside of that, I don't think there's anything else that you might need that would not be on hand. Okay. So that's about it. So I just reposted the schedule. So have a look at it again, see where you are. And ladies, please try to be early for your session because we don't want the groups mixing. in line with COVID and the protocols and COVID protocols. So we don't want to have 8 persons, you know, or 12 persons crossing at any given time. So when the first group comes in, by the time you're finished, they should be able to leave so and give time for the second group to come in and do their thing. Alrighty? If there's nothing further, I would like to tell you to close the class. Tell you have a very good evening. And do continue to stay safe and take care of yourself and your family. Have a very good evening, ladies, and thank you so very much for showing up.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, ladies.
Good night. Good night.
Good night, all.
Bye.